Good afternoon. And now we are very pleasant to be invited to this conference. It's very important for us to make diffusion of Proterra network. And this is a very important Ibero-American network that works all over the countries of America, including Spain and Portugal, and also some people that represent other institutions at the United States, France, Italy, and now Greece that came 2 years ago and took as a friendly institution. Well, the network began in the year 2006 and has the organization CITED that you see here, that was an important program of Ibero-American program of science and technology for development that has a network named Abiterra. That net disappeared, and Proterra, in a certain form, is the continuous of that the group of people that was interested in the work with Earth. The objectives are of Proterra, the mission, is the human settlements and habitat in rural and urban areas, and the cultural diversity and tangible and intangible knowledge preservation. It contributes to the promotion of sustainable development according to an integrative approach. It works with participation of civil society in all its forms. That means universities, governments, ONGs, people that are working in this area, and it has some important aims that are more specific, like the scientific and technical development, targeting an improvement of quality of life and sustainable development, to contribute to the integration of the scientific and technological Iberian-American community through exchange and cooperation among its members, but also by promoting an agenda of priorities for earthen architecture in the region. The strength Iberian-American capacity for scientific and technological development through the transfer of knowledge and the exchange of data of common interest in the framework of earthen architecture. Bueno, since a lot of years, we have accumulated a lot of countries that are named here, plus Canada, France, Italy, and the United States, with 129 experts from 80 Iberian-American countries. There are some photographs of some activities made there, like CIACOT. CIACOT is the Ibero-American Seminary of Architecture and Construction with Earth that is made every year in different countries of America. Here in Paraguay and Bolivia, the last one in Bolivia last year, 2017. We have also a lot of workshops with students and people that want to know this sort of technology with the aim of making a transfer of technology. Also, we have printed publications. We have 17 until now. A lot of them of the seminars, the different seminars, some of specific techniques like this one of the CITED that was of wood and earth construction. Some digital editions, we have 30 in a sort of CDs format. Internet also is a very important tool for the work and dissemination of Proterra. We have the download of free materials. One very important of these materials is terminology assessment. That explains all the words that are used in earth construction and earth architecture. It's a very ordered where all the experts made a common work to make a statement of the significance of each word. The transfers of knowledge is through workshops, very similar to what we have seen here tomorrow in the morning, with working with hands, with tools, with little principles of simple principles of working with earth, expositions that are similar of that made here of posters. In each seminar, CIACOT, we make an exposition of the works done in research, in a sort of a presentation of works made with earth in an architectonic point of view. Manuals that are very, very important for making the workshops. Here are an example that gives the guidelines to organize methodologically the making the workshops. Some manuals more specific, like this, that of selections of soils, made by very important laboratories, members of the network. This is the work very important that edited Argumentum, and he will speak 5 minutes later about this important book, Felipe Giorgi. It's a work made 2 years ago, 1.5 years, and it's now, we have the English edition. The editor has it, but it hasn't printed yet. Here is an important thing. Today, there were some presentations that spoke about a laboratory. There is a interchange between different laboratories to make conclusions about the different tests that are done to the Earth, and which are we have to standardize that, to make a standardization about that type of testing. Activities that are being presently undertaken, a group of 9 experts supporting the development of norm at national level. First phase in Chile and Brazil, the second phase, present state, in Argentina and Mexico. The technical recommendations for earthen architecture conservation, a project for the population awareness of risk mitigation. That is very important in our continent, especially in the countries that are near the Pacific, where is the fire ring of the Pacific Oceans, and we have a lot of problems with earth construction and earthquakes. Iberian American Atlas, structured in 3 phases. First phase, identification of the building cultures by each member on each Iberian American country. Second phase, to classify earthen architecture regarding to different types of heritage, religious, military, etc. Third phase, to identify different building typology systems. The work will be interconnected with ICOMOS ISCHA and Crater World Database Atlas under planning. ISCHA is the International Scientific Committee on Earthen Architecture Heritage. That is a committee, member of ICOMOS, that only treats with earthen heritage. Technology transfer through the CIACOT conference. I told you the countries where has been done. The next one is in this year in Guatemala, between the 22 and 25 of October, in the city of Antigua, Guatemala. Here is the diffusion of that activity that is going to take place now. Transfer of knowledge, target public. Regional exposition seminars is the tool for the general public, regional stakeholders. National seminars, municipalities and national institutions, workshops, general public, credit courses, specialized professional researchers, reference books, general public, technical scientific books, researchers, professionals, postgraduate research, PhD, master degree students, research projects, research centers, universities, training students, stakeholders, etc. Here it's another relation between the integrated of these materials and the transfer of knowledge between different tools also. There are the chair UNESCO, ICOMOS, etc., workshops, Iberican platform, European platform, Iberian American platform. Conclusions. The exchange of earthen architecture knowledge is now more dynamic and less centralized. Thus, it's It is important for networks, associations, committees, and institutions to establish an integrative approach in order to avoid repetition of stacks, but also to precise their mission and objectives and the way to achieve them. It is now a reality that several institutions doubled their effort, which is observed by their determination and engagement on urban architecture research and scientific dissemination of knowledge. Urban architecture is now a disciplinary area that deserves more systematic and consistent cooperation, responsible engagement, and teamwork. 10 minutes. Now I leave the microphone to my friend, Felipe Giorgi, that is going to explain the atlas and the publication of urban architecture.
Good afternoon to everybody. Thank you very much to give me some minutes to refer our editorial project. I must say in first place that I'm very glad to be here for the second time in Chania and in Crete. And I must felicitate you and Pelico organization for the enormous exhibition that you have here. It is a very, very important exhibition, not only about the contents it has and the worldwide vision of modern architecture with natural materials all over the world, but it is also very well done in graphic terms. As publisher, I'm sensitive to this aspect, and I must felicitate yourselves for this great exhibition you have got here, that I advise you to put it in iteration all over Europe and other places. Well, Argumentum is a micro publisher house. We are Portuguese, and we are appointing to different kind of editions, but one of the most important ways we have been working in the last 12 years, it is the Urban architecture projects. I have here a kind of catalog that I have got for you if you want, where you can see in the last 12 years the kind of work we have been doing around Urban architecture. One of the most important works we have done during these years, it is this Arquitectura de Tierra in America Latina, Urban architectures in South America, that we are preparing an English edition so you can read all over the world this work. This is a very important work. We have done it in a record time, something like 6 months. We have done this book. In the point of view of the editorial work, but because the work of the contents has been worked much longer. It gives to the people who have these books in their hands the view of this panorama of the Urban architecture all over the South American 19 countries. It is published in Spanish. The articles about Brazil, they are written in Portuguese. And we have an amount of 84 authors in this book. So you can perhaps know and think about the representative of the contents of this book. Unfortunately, we have some books here in Chania, but they are, I don't know where, in the transit enterprises who didn't give us the books yesterday, as we thought, but perhaps Monday we will have it. Continuing with this project in Urban architecture, I'm going just to touch in the future projects that we have in Portugal with contemporary architecture in Urban, In Spain, we have preparing a book about contemporary architecture in Earthen too. We are preparing for the next spring an important book about the recuperation on Roman earth architecture, domestic buildings. We are preparing too a book about earthen architecture in the UK and Ireland with the eBookie organization. And, well, I'm going to stop with plans because plans are dreams, and dreams sometimes they don't realize. But we have something that I would like to announce here for the first time about the dream of having a book about Mediterranean earthen architecture. We are about to prepare the coordinator team, and we are going to announce this project in some months. And this is a project that we would like to have to present in the World Conference 2021, which is not defined where it is, the country where it's going to take place, perhaps in Egypt, perhaps in China, we don't know yet. But in this project, of course, we would like very much to have the Greek collaboration in the subject of contemporary architecture in Earth. So, too much dreams, too much things to do. I hope you continue with your work, and we thank you very much for your attention. Okay. This is the last book. He was made last week. It is about Moroccan earthen architecture in the south of Morocco. Traditional architecture I have got here if you want to see. Thank you very much.
Well, I continue with my presentation now about the work of three technologies in Chile. I don't know. Come. Aquí. No. The other one. I can go there. Aquí. Well, I'm going to present three projects where I worked in Chile in different moments in three technologies. The first one is Adobe in the 80s in special conditions. The second one is lightened earth, is earth with straw, is a group of houses. And the third one is the reinforced rammed earth house. The first project is this one named Cultural Center at the Municipality of La Florida. Became an important program from a social point of view because was the moment that was an important economic changement in Chile because the military government put the neoliberal system, so we have a lot of unemployed people that in this area of Santiago was near the 70% of the people, very high. So the program is the objective of this program was to give handwork and salaries to the people so they could maintain his families. The program is of this cultural center is based on this ancient house in the black walls. It's a colonial house from the 19th century that was in this territory that was rural, and then it became urban, and it was urbanized, and the project is this sort of patio that was configured with an auditorium. It has a library, an auditorium, an area for workshops. That was the ancient house, an area of museum in this big room, the exhibitions also in the same place, and administration in the port and the dining area. Is this one. The program, here is a big park. That's why we don't have photographs of this, because it's full of trees that you can see the house, but it's a colonial house with ceramic tiles, with roofs, with important presence, visual presence. So the condition of this project was to continue with this style, colonial style. We had two documents that used for this construction was the Manual de Construcción en Adobe of Professor Gaston Barrios, a very important person that made research at the Catholic University of Chile, and the Code of Peru, the seismic code NTAE 080. This code has been changed a lot of times, but used the engineers there in Chile to give, digamos, the resistance form to this house. Here is the direction. Here is the chief of the area, the alcalde. Its name, how did you say alcalde in English? Is the mayor. The mayor, the chief of the program. Yes, the chief of this project, and architects. One architect that was chief of the work. 3 architects that work with the people. We have 500 people here. And we made a deal with the Catholic University that we provide them with handwork to make a table, a cement table to make essays with a scale, with rooms of adobe, and you incline that table and obtain the coefficients and the analysis of the structural behavior. And this group of professionals of the program that also collaborate and are named here. One of the curious things of this program is that 18% of the money that was the government invested in this program was for handwork. Only the 20% was for buying materials, and that is the relation inverse of any constructions. It's more expensive, the materials, than the handwork. So the purpose of this was to give to the people the chance of working. In the 500 workers, there was 20% of females that was responsible for the manufacture of ceramic tiles that were made also in the place. The system of reinforcement was basically this form of trapping the adobes. Adobes were of 10, 13, 14 centimeters, the 3/4 adobes that are this one that are on the corner, but the adobe was of 10, 30, and 60 centimeters. Here is the sort of little walls that for the movement of the earthquake are very important. That is located here, in this point, in the red circles. So you have a very long wall of adobe, and you have in every 5 meters a transversal little wall that conserve the counterfort, that conserve the stability in the effort of the seismic movement. Here is a very important modification in relation with colonial houses, because the engineers analysis this area of in the upper zone of the doors is a death wave that is very, very bad for the movement of the earthquake. So we took this level to this one, and then we put there a sort of reinforcement made of wood and with some connections to the lintels up to the windows and the doors. And there is the sign of the lintels made of wood, a very important screw that connected the superior wood chain with the adobes, and was put inside the wall. There was a triangulation in all the superior reinforcement to ensure the comportment, a good behavior with the seismic. The wooden structure of the roof was made of 2 pieces prefabricated in this form that were prefabricated in the field, and then were connected in this piece of wood. Here are the photographs of the fabrications of adobes. The university offered the laboratories to make the test of resistance, and we recycled a lot of ancient adobe houses that were destroyed. We took that earth, recycled them, and we obtained between 10 or 20% more of resistance to the compression effort of these pieces. So the work with the university was very important. They put also students of the university to make a supervision of the installation of adobes and all of that. Here is the port, the entrance port, a corridor to protect the adobe walls from the rain falling and to conserve it. Here is a view of the patio, interior patio. Here is a view of the library, interior of the library. The courtyard. Now, that is a more recent photograph. This is in the phase of the last constructions. We have painting, there were painting there in this moment. That was the first project of adobe that is clearly that it could be the most important adobe construction in America. Was Julian Salas, an engineer that went to all the countries of South America, told us that he hasn't seen a building of that dimension of adobe made in the 80s. And that was published at the review Informe of Construction of the Torroja Institute at Madrid in that year. Later we took in a private project that was the community housing in Peñalolén. It's a municipality near the mountains of Santiago. The choice of the technique of lignant earth, that is an earth with a lot of straw and little part of earth, was because the layer of the vegetable layer was very thin, was 30 centimeters. We couldn't use a massive technique as adobe or rammed earth because we didn't have the earth there to build these houses. So this is a community of friends, all-day professionals, middle class that we bought, all of us, this area to construct these 12 houses. That has a principle of prefabrication. We constructed the houses, the roof of the houses, by the company Savinco. It's a Chilean company that work in the area of wooden prefabrication of parts. They constructed the Pavilion of Chile at Sevilla Exposition in the year 19, and a very important company. So in 3 days, they prefabricated all the structures of the roof. Here is the distribution of the areas. There is a common area, this one, that's very important. Here is the street to go inside. We made all the urbanization with our company and the projects and the construction of the houses. The model of the houses is of 140 square meters in an area of a media of 500 square meters of private area. And in this common area was thought some sport equipment, some area for make agriculture, but it didn't function very much because the individuality in Chile it's a problem very high because it's very difficult to people to work in community systems. The modules were for bedrooms. The walls were 15 centimeters wide, and there is an entrance in this point. You have a little living room, bathroom, and 2 bedrooms, and then you go up because it had a little slope the terrain, and you go up to the second floor, you have the master room at the second floor, and in the first floor you have the living room, dining room, kitchen, and the bedroom service with her bathroom and the patio interior. The principle of having good windows to the north, in this facade, you can see that we have to apply the passive solar energy as an important thing to obtain a good digamos, level of temperature. But it's an area in Santiago that's very cold. It's more high than Santiago. So in the south, where you can have the losses of energy, thermal energy, you have little windows, and you don't have, and this has a very good component. The material that we used to study this technique was this publication of Crater América Latina. Alain Hayes gave me this book. It's Técnica Mixta de Construcción con Tierra. It means mixed techniques, earth wood to construction with earth. That was a technique named Lechlenbau in German that was developed in the 1940s in German. And it's very useful for us to have this information. Here are some views of the obtain of the earth, all made manually without machinery, and with straw. Here is the straw. We had to take a look to have a good level of clay to mix the clay with the straw. Here is a view of the system of filling the interior of walls with the mud made of straw and mud, and there is the preparing of these structures. All this model, ¿cómo se dice? Formato, formalidad, molde, were taken before it was dry. Here is the mixed with the straw, and there was the people that the workers putting them in the interior of the wall. This is an important detail because in this structure that is every 50 centimeters, that is the more important structure, there is a thick of wood of 25 millimeters fixed for the interior, in the interior face of the wood, so that when the mud gets dry, it can go away. So it fixed the system for the movements or for horizontal forces. Here is an important thing that we use this sort of waste of meshes used for drinking bottles, for the tap of drinking bottles. That was very good, but because it has aluminum, so the oxidation was very low. So in the area that where you have good, you should put this to obtain a continuity of the earth plaster that gives the finish of the wall. Here is the two phases of the project with the north facade with the open windows to gain the solar energy, and the interior very, very good. They passed the first winter without any active system to heat. They didn't need it because the behavior of the earth walls was very good. Now, the last project that I'm going to explain, to present, is a project made with reinforced rammed earth construction at the same municipality of Peñalolén in a place named Ecological Community. One of the characteristics of this ecological community is that has any planification legal control because it's outside the area, the territory of the municipality. So you can build in earth, in a lot of wood and different systems. There are a lot of experiences here. I have constructed 2 houses here, another one in another place. And so it has that is a special condition that allows to build with this. This is a house for, there are the reinforced system, the engineers, my son Diego that helped me with that. This has a poster, then the before project, and this one are in the first floor in the poster exhibition. That this was made the year 2004, and has a very good resistance with seismic behavior. I will explain why. This is the plan of the house. There is a difference of 60 centimeters between this point and this point. So you have stairs here and stairs there. And the house enters in this direction. The criteria to design the house was to make 2 areas, one public area near the access and one more private with bedrooms and with a little room a study room and the bathrooms, etc. And the criteria was to make the walls, the exterior walls of 14 centimeters. Some ones are 13. That became because the engineer take that condition. And some interiors, more thin walls, so you can economize surface because if you use a lot of walls of 14 centimeters, you are going to waste a lot of surface in walls. So there appears a lot of interior thin walls of wood and mud that are these ones. The style that here is the construction technical summary, reinforced walls of 30 and 40 centimeters, and the coronation is a chain reinforced concrete with iron. I'm very happy that Minke didn't come here because he would kill me because of this. Huh? I'm not so Ayatollah for earth building because you have a responsibility with people. Chile has the biggest. We are not champion of football, but we're champion of earthquakes. One of the 3 biggest earthquakes of the world registered was the 27th of February of the year 2010. That the degree was 8.8. Imagine that Haiti went down with a 6 degree earthquake. In the 8.8 in Chile was horrible because the destruction, the destruction with earthquakes it's not arithmetic, it's a progressive relation. It's not the same in degrees, it begins to have a biggest destroyment in the degrees you are going upper, So it's not a joke to construct with earth in Chile. So this coronation chain is very important for the consolidation of this system. Why we use this system? The adobe has a lot of complexities because you make the adobes like Egyptians did, and when you finally you finish the fabrications of adobe and you make, they say, to taste the resistance, you find a lot of problems with that, and you have to make them again. So it's a lot of time that is wasted. So this is more quick to put it in place because you make it in situ. You put the forms and begin to run, and it's very, very quick. That's one advantage. The other advantage of this system is more resistant than adobe because the adobe, you make it by hand, by depression of hand. Here, we are going to see we use machinery. You can run with a martillo, ¿cómo se dice? Un tapial? With a hammer, with an instrument by hand, but it's much better to do it in the soil with the hand. You obtain a better resistance. The other advantage is that you don't use vegetable here. You don't use straw, only earth. So the earth with the time begins much stronger with the pass of time. But if you have vegetable fibers, that fibers, organic fibers, begins to destroy with time, and it becomes weaker. We used every 15 centimeters a little reinforcement of 5 centimeters high with a type of wire mesh that produce the connections between the blocks. These blocks in Chile are known as adobones. We used an Atlas Copco RAM compressor that has this weight with this rhythm of strokes and the travel of the stroke, and a portable oil compressor Atlas Copco. We had a lot of problems with this compressor because of the noise, because it make a lot of noise, and we have the neighborhood that wasn't very happy with the noise. The pressure that gives pine. These were the structure of pines that 6 and 8 inches, a flat cover made of galvanized iron, and I told you internal partitions. And this part of the construction wasn't made with earth because it is very exposed to the rain. So it is made with wood and a foam of cement and fiber that only in this area were plastered with cement for give a more protection to this point. But all that in the other part was of earth. Another important condition is to give minimum of 30 centimeters between the first adobe and the natural soil because of humidity of capillarity, humidity that goes up to the low level of the first area, and we put here in this point an asphalt protection to put the cut of that humidity that goes to the upper levels of the constructions. One of the texts that we studied, because this transfer of technology was made in the context of CITED program. At Venezuela, at the University of Merida, they developed this system, tapia modificada, that is ram earth modified, PS5, that is represented in this design with some reinforcement, but these reinforcements were made with cane, and also the superior reinforcement also was made with cane because we're an area where you can obtain cane, but at Chile we don't have a lot of cane, and it's very, very, very thin. This is the system of Venezuela with the reinforcement and the earth, rammed earth, and here is the intermediate reinforcement. Here is the sort of mixed of cement, soil, and here is the cut of the cane to make that reinforcement that we used iron for that. Because of the engineers at Chile believed that sort of reinforcement wasn't enough strong to resist our earthquakes. We used here these foams to compact the earth. We made these special connections with iron to connect the system. And here is the channel in the reinforced concrete that is very important because if you don't make this little channel that can be with rectal angles, can be this way, or can be with a triangle, but has to be you have to put this connection here because when you put the concrete and comes the horizontal force of the earthquake, you can ensure that you can keep connected the wall with the reinforcement. If you don't put this, the upper chain goes out. We saw it in some construction in Chile, that architects that didn't know how to construct with earth, that didn't put this channel after the earthquake, the wall stayed in one place and the channel in another, with a big destruction. See? Here we have the machine, the RAM, and the views of the house finished. All these houses has a very good comportment with the last earthquake. We didn't have practically any damage at the rammed earth constructions. This is not a system approved by the Chilean codes, but we are trying at the ProTierra Chile network to go to government, approve these systems, and allow to construct with them. Thank you very much.